Good evening, everybody. Thank you and welcome to sharing your stories once again with Elnathan. I am so excited to be here today, everybody. Thank you so much once again for listening to us. Once again, I have my trusted compadre here, Kemi, and boy, do we have a show for you tonight. We have a special treat. We have our daddy here, Dr. Aina. Kemi, please go ahead and do the introductions.
Oh, fantastic. So thank you for having my daddy and I here for this lovely show. So my dad is Dr. Alicia Goina and is a multitude of things to multitude of people. Is a fintech guru. He's been around the banking industry for so many years. He has done some really amazing things as his own foundation said, Goina Foundation. But today he is here doing something very different. And that is, talking to us as my dad, as Kemi's dad. So welcome on the show, Daddy. Thank you for agreeing to talk with us today.
Thank you very much, Tayo and Kemi. And it's a pleasure to be with you this evening to share thoughts and exchange ideas, to learn from you in terms of what is happening in today's world, and to also, of course, share my own perspectives as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for coming. This is our Father's Day special, and so might I say first of all, Happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Thank you
Um,
very much. Thank you.
it's
I'm
a
still,
honor.
I'm still be expecting the Father's Day gift so
Yes,
that
sir.
I can remember this year's Father's Day.
Of course, sir. We will
And,
be sure. We'll be sure to be wonderful children in that
yeah.
in that regard. But and also to all our men out there who are listening to us, Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there listening. Thank you so much. And shout out to my dad also. Happy Father's Day to you too. So sir, I have a question. We're gonna get right into business today. And I have a question. When I look around, I see things are changing. When I compare old back when we were growing up even to now, things have changed, things have really shifted, mindset is changing. Financial used to be back then daddy would go to work, mommy would stay at home and raise the children and do all that, and now once again that has changed. It's becoming a two income family, especially in North America. And you have a beautiful perspective of having lived in Nigeria, West Africa, and also having lived in North America, and you've been able to see both angles and you can compare. So, sir, this is my question to you. What would be the one lesson that you want to share with young fathers or even fathers generally in this season, based on your own experiences? What would you do differently? What would you not do, what is not necessary, what is necessary? And also it can also be in whichever dimension you want to, financially, physically, spiritually. Just if you want to tell us, we want to hear it.
Yes, thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. And yeah, there's a lot of lessons that one can share, but talking about just one lesson or something that one would have probably be able to have done differently, or what I think people can do as fathers is that, like I rightly mentioned, the general expectation is that the father will be the breadwinner of the family. Even though that is changing now, but still generally both, the developed world and the developing market, but and the developing market as well. And that imposes a lot of responsibility and expectation on the daddy, on the young father or the old father, and so on and so forth, because you need to struggle to make ends meet, to take care of the needs of the family. Even if your wife is working, that the mother, you still believe that as the head of the family, you need to take care of all the expenses. That was the way it was in our own time. But now that has changed and it became worse. And the lesson there is that as a young father, because of the expectations and the responsibilities on you, you don't find enough time to really spend a lot of time with the children. Of course, it's the mother that spend all that kind of time, take them to school, bring them from school, stay with them at home. The father will be busy running around, going to the office, coming in, working late, going to social function, networking. So to the extent that the father doesn't really, get close to the children in those formative years, and that shows up in future years when you know that the father does not really understand the children very well, or wasn't there when they were growing up. And women have their women are fantastic. They have their own strong points, but when the woman has to take decision that the father normally should take, it has its own drawback. Because I mean, the father believes that, well, once I just provide the resources, the money, let the woman take care of everything and do. So there are a lot of problem comes out of that in later years. So, but it's worse now. Even though one is saying that young fathers of today should create that time to spend more time with the children, to learn a lot about what they do, look at their schoolwork, monitor them, watch their growth. But how do you balance that with the daily hustling and bustle of life?
Mm.
When today a normal or regular young father, if he's a salary earner, is most likely to also have a side hustle, something else that he's doing, either a business or a second job, especially in the developed world that we are, especially in Canada, I mean, in the US or the UK or whatever, are likely to be able to, because the cost of living is so high, and you want to have the best for your, so in striving to get the best for your children, you tend to overwork yourself. So my advice to young fathers today is that getting the best for your children, I mean, the amount of money you spend on your children does not amount to getting the best for them.
Mm.
Sending your children to the most expensive schools or private schools does not mean that they'll be better off than any other person that. My advice is that do not do do not put too much financial responsibility on yourself that will affect your ability to stay or spend quality time,
Mm.
with your children and with your family. But at the end of the day, that is what makes a difference. It's not the quality of education you are giving. It's not the type of, expensive things you buy for them, but the time you spend to mold them in your own way, to mold them in a way that you want them to have family values and so on and so
Mm.
forth, which is what I think was lacking the number of young families that we have today. Young guys want to, and of course, begin about what even thinking of the family. Young guys want to make it by all means, want to make it by all means. So because of that, they don't spend time with the family. Even the few minutes they want to spend is not something that is quality time spent. So that for me is a major drawback. It was in our time, but it's even worse now.
No.
And my
Mm.
and my advice to the younger one is that why it is important is to be able to balance work and family life, because the family really is the most important thing that one should focus upon. Of course, the
Mm.
family also rely on you to be able to provide the wherewithal for
It's
you
a
to also. So
balancing act.
it's a very tough balance, but it's something that can be achieved, because at the end of the day, like the Bible say, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world
And
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 lose
lose
his soul.
and lose his life? So what does it cost? You have all the money in the world, spend all the money, your children, expensive things. At the end of the day, they turn out to be what you don't want them to be.
mm,
So at the end of the day, it's a regret. And to avoid that, you have to make sure that you spend more time, take more interest in what they do. Yes, that may affect your other aspect of your life, like your networking, like your even the amount of time you use to play to work. But that balance has to be there, so that you don't regret in your later years. And at that time it will be too late, to understand.
Make the
I mean,
change.
we've seen examples. Some of them are movies, some of them are real life, where young children that are growing up have challenges that their mother cannot even solve.
mm,
And they
Mm.
make attempt to talk to their father, but the father is so busy. His either is not available, or when he's available, maybe he's sleeping on the couch, and his daughter or the son, they want to, talk to him, share their concerns, share their challenges. But the father is not there. His mind is not there to
mm,
listen to whatever he's saying.
Yes.
And at the
Yes,
end of
sir.
the day, some other people who may not have the interest of the child and are the one that will be advising him or her. And then, of course,
Mm.
he takes the wrong decision, and
Mm.
it has a fallback effect in later life.
In later life. Oh, wow. So I think what you've told us about is the face of sacrifice.
Yes,
I, I,
yes.
I think it's time and sacrifice, and those are concepts that I fear are no longer they're very relevant, but we no longer keep them as relevant
Mm,
anymore. We have this lifestyle of hustle, and hustle,
yes.
as much as the word hustle, I think is just I don't like that word anymore.
either.
It's a
What's that?
horrible
Also,
hustle.
also when people are hustling,
Hustle is even good. Side hustle is also there because hustle is the regular hustle is there and the
This,
side hustle is also there.
this,
So,
you know,
you know,
if, even side hustle is horrible. Just that
it's
word,
all,
because
yes,
yeah,
yes.
it gives you a lot to do and you accomplish very little. Because I don't know anybody who has made a
I know.
$1 million side hustling yet.
Yes,
Maybe there are, but and I think it's the face of sacrifice that I think that you're telling us about, and even mothers, so you can learn something from this.
yeah.
Kemi, you have a question for Daddy.
Yes, I do. I do. So, as everybody knows, my dad is my hero. I mean, we talked about growing up and all of that. And I've always just like my dad is the person I go to for everything. I mean,
Mm.
I was telling someone about it the other day that I'm sure my dad always wants to ask me that. Are you sure you know that I'm your dad? Because I reach out to him if there's anything
I'm
going
sure
on.
he's aware.
No, first thing I'm like, oh, let me call my dad, and most Nigerians wonder like, why are you calling your dad? I'm like, because my dad and I think in the same way. My dad is very logical. When you go to him with a problem, he doesn't personalize the problem. He looks at the problem and he's very logical, and that's something I
Mhm,
really appreciate because
mhm.
as children we don't have all the answers, and it's always been like this. Like when we're younger, and I remember one drive. I don't know if that you remember. We're going to Lekki, and our results had just come out, and my sister and I didn't do very well, and I was so sure that we're going to get in big trouble. And my dad's question was very simple. Why weren't you doing well in school? Like, what is the real problem? It wasn't, oh, you have disappointed me, you failed, but it was, what happened? Like, what really happened? And as I've grown up now, I've tried to always think about, I remember that moment, that pivotal moment in my life where, if I'm doing something wrong, I have to have a reason because my dad is going to ask me
So
why.
if you're getting the wrong result,
If
I
you're getting the wrong,
suppose
and
maybe that if you're
that's
getting the
exactly
wrong
right. You're
result.
getting the wrong results, and then it makes you sit back because then I started looking like, is it? And that was when I realized I don't like biology because I just don't relate well with it. I
Mhm,
like economics. I like courses that I relate well with. I can take,
mhm.
understand. Mathematics is right or wrong. I'm not good at that. But those were some of the things that I learned from my dad because my dad would ask, why? What happened?
So I guess my question to you, Kemi, would be that if your dad had yelled and done the traditional fathering as we some Nigerians would have faced, and I'm being very careful to say traditional fathering, because a lot of us know our daddies to yell and to
Yeah.
and to daddy comes. I don't know if your house was the kind that, well, no, probably not now, but some houses when you hear daddy horn on the gates, yeah, like running is like
No,
putting
I mean,
stuff
there
under
was
the
always
couch, yeah,
pandemonium.
going that fear, just daddy's back.
No, ours wasn't. Our pandemonium was in Daddy's year. It was, yeah, Daddy's year, and everybody would run and go and meet
And go
him,
to daddy,
collect his
yeah.
No,
bag.
I mean, it is that as a father, you need to get friendly with your children. You need to let them miss you. Because, like you said, I mean, I don't know, maybe some homes, when your daddy is out, that is when the children are happy. When the child is around, that's when. So, as a
Everybody's
father,
on their tippy toes.
yeah, as a father, need to be open, need to be simple, need to be approachable, to
Mm,
your children, need to be able to be their chief advisor. And like I always,
mm,
tell my children and tell other children that I mentor, other people that I mentor, is that it's very difficult, if not impossible, for your parents, or your father or your mother, to advise you to deliberately advise you wrongly.
mm.
A friend can, for our own selfish reason, give you a wrong advice, knowing that
Yeah.
it's a wrong advice.
Mhm.
Any other person can, but your parent, because there is no, it's not, where hardly can you find a parent that don't want the children to succeed.
Yes.
So they may give an advice that may go wrong, they may go the wrong way, but the intention is not for you to go wrong. But
Yes. Mhm.
in the real world, friends, acquaintances, co-workers, and so on and so forth, because they are looking at their different perspective, and your sources of failure does not mean anything to them.
To
If you
them.
succeed, they are with you. If you fail, they run away. But your
Yeah.
father, your mother cannot run away from you.
Yeah.
So again, for the children, another lesson also for children, no matter at what age, always believe that your parents, your father, your mother will
Mm.
not do anything that will hurt you. But that does not mean that the advice may not go the wrong way. But at least know that they have done it with good intention. I'm talking
Mhm.
about schooling and so on and so forth. One of the lessons that I always tell my children, I always tell people is that yes, it's good to say you scored A, maybe from 70% you score A. And so, but if you score 99%, don't be happy about 90%. Find out why is it that I missed that 1%.
Mm.
Why didn't I get 100%? Don't look at things as a half empty glass. Look at it as half full.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've scored A, but I could have scored 100%. So what
Mm-hmm.
did I miss? So that next time I won't miss that 1% or 2%. When you do that, you make children wanting to strive to be the best that they can be in anything that they are doing, and then you will not accept, a mediocre performance as the standard. It's very, very important for us as parents to include that element of excellence, and aiming high in our children, especially as fathers, and to also as fathers share our life. I mean, we can't be perfect. Nobody, no one is perfect. Where we are even failed in our life, the mistake that we have made, we should share with
Mm-hmm.
our children so that they don't make the same mistake.
I
Because if you
like
don't,
that. Share your
yeah,
life.
because yes, because if you don't share your mistake, oh, I did this, I did that. Even if I knew now, I wouldn't have done that. You are sending a letter so that your children will not make the same mistake you made 20, 30, or 40 years. And when they become parents as well, if you make some mistake in parenting, they can also learn from it and say, oh, my dad, my mom, and my parents had this, they made this mistake. I don't want to meet that. So you are making the world become a better place when everybody is improving from what it used to be.
Yes, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You made a comment about share your life. When I was growing up, it wasn't very common that our parents would share. So my dad would say I was always the best in my class, and God bless him of blessed memories. My dad was the A student in all subjects. Daddy never failed the class. My daddy was the choir master. He was the choir leader. He was just on top of it all, and he always said all these things to us, and we feel so like, daddy, you are so perfect. And then later I realized that yeah, no, daddy didn't. Daddy was,
Yeah, I
and
know.
so, but I know that, and so, but the whole idea of sharing your life is the new concept that we are trying to do now. I don't know that we've learnt that from our. I don't know that I learnt that necessarily. Maybe growing up to that sharing your life, So my parents would shield us from all the trouble. They never
Mm,
told us bad things. My dad would protect us, from the bad stuff and not let us know or hear. So they presented to us this perfection,
yeah.
to keep us protected. But now, as I'm growing up and I'm a parent myself, I realize that let my children know, let them know that I'm not perfect,
Hmm.
let
Hmm.
them know. And so I'm happy that you're saying that to our young fathers, because I think some of the bigger issues that men go through is failing. If I fail, what will my children think? I can't
Yeah.
fail, the fear of failure. But then the fear of failure is even sometimes way worse than the failure itself. You get so scared of failing that you don't do anything,
Yes.
and
Yes. And
then
and and, and, and faith that will be proving over and over that failure actually is a path to success,
yeah, it's
because
part of
it's not about it's not about how many times you have failed that matters. How many times you do fail and do it over again and do something again. A lot of people, I mean, I've done some things in life before the part that it didn't work out well. I didn't say because of that I'm not going to do it again. Do it
yeah.
again and do it again and do it again. Maybe it's on your 10th time that you'll be able to crack it and move on. If you read the lives of successful people in this world, they've gone through this determination, concentration, focus, and so on. These are
Mm,
skill. These are things that young people of today need. That parents need to be telling their children.
children.
Society, there's a lot of decadence in the society today, and
Hmm,
a lot of this will be attributed to wrong parenting or
hmm,
ineffective parenting, where you now have a lot of young people doing drug, a lot of them living on the street, they don't do whatever. Because, like I always say, no child, I'm not aware of any child that was born to fail.
Mm,
hmm,
Where you have a baby, where you have done everybody is the circumstances, the opportunities, and the lack of it that determines how a child, develop in life. Nobody was born, ab initio to be, oh, this person is going to be a drug addict. No, we were all born the
hmm.
same way. But what affects our life is the way we were guided, the way we were brought up. That's where parenting is very, very important.
mm,
Especially a father who is the head of the family. We must live by example. Must be a good example. If you are saying this is not good, you yourself should not do it, so that the
Mhm.
children, it's not even what you say that's important, but what you do. Because if
Mm.
you are saying one thing and you are doing a different thing, you are
Mm.
setting bad example. If you are
Mhm.
telling your children that line is not good, and they see you tell, they know what is the right answer, and you are giving a wrong answer to somebody, of course, you are teaching them that that you can lie, you know.
Mhm.
Or I mean, I always make the example of parents anywhere in the world, the father who maybe was just maybe a civil servant or a government worker who maybe
Mhm.
earning a fixed amount of money, and then your children finding out that you have $100 million, $20 million in your account. I got the BP businessman.
Yeah.
So how do you tell that child that stealing is bad?
Mm.
Because he will be asking you, I mean, you asking how much does this man earn as a civil
As a
servant
servant,
or as a
yeah.
government
Mhm.
worker or as a lecturer or whatever?
Mhm.
Are you able to amass this kind of money? So
Mhm.
you are creating a path for failure. For they are
Mhm.
creating the path for them to also want to do stuff that will not be accountable. So accountability and so on is very important.
Yes,
Parents
sir.
must teach their children, and it was there in our days. You can if you when we were growing up, when we were young and so on and so forth, any little thing that happens to us, we always tell our parents, because otherwise they start suspecting, it's like this boy or something not do something wrong. But today's parents, their children, will go out, will go out to work or go out, then come back and riding flashy cars. Most people will not find out where
Where's
have
this
you been able to
money
raise the
from?
money for this. That's why we have these challenges that have now become
Mm.
so endemic, that those generations that have created that problem are now breeding new generation, catching them from the new generation, and
Yeah.
everybody is now trying wanting to be like them. So it's a failure of parenting. It's a failure of those of our generation, in terms of the inability to prepare our children. Our children are now also parents. So they are transferring the weaknesses in their own growing up to the
To their children. Yes.
new generation. So that's the
Yes.
problem that we are causing, our generation, which I mean the baby boomers, baby
Yeah.
boomers
Mm.
who had to be struggling and had to want to have the best of life, and so like in those days, 60, 70 years ago, people were content with the little they have, but it's not so anymore. And that's where the
Mm.
hustling, gets
Hammer.
in.
I
Most
like
of the
that.
young parents today, they just money, want to make money. They want to live like the Joneses. Their friend travel for summer holiday every year. They travel for Christmas. So they want to go with their family. Want to take care of their family. And also, as a parent too, you need to be able to know what your resources are, and
Mm.
that determines how you control your family in terms of your family size.
Mhm.
That yes, I mean, it's God that gives children, but you need to be able to know when is it enough, or when do you think it's something that you can give quality life, quality attention. Because
Mm.
there's no way you have 10 children and be
Mm.
able to give attention for each of them. There's no way. I don't see how you'll be able to combine your work as a father, so as a breadwinner of the house, and also be able to give the type of attention and affection that you need to give to your children. I mean, if they are that number. So these are some of the things that young parents should know about, should worry about, particularly young fathers, because the father, I mean, determines what happens in the family, and also provides, guidance not only to the wife alone, but to the children, and
Yeah.
that determines the outcome,
Mhm.
of the future of those children.
All the children. Wow.
Hmm.
Thank you so much, sir. Kemi, you have a question for Daddy?
Yes, I do. So that you raised two daughters
Mm.
and you grew up in a family of boys.
Hmm.
Yes.
How was that for you, just having to deal with that transition? Because I know you were the first of four boys, and you probably had, if you had any experience raising, younger ones, it would be the boys. But now you have two girls. How has that been for you? And what was one of your greatest lessons?
Well, I mean, like I said earlier on, God gives children and determine the type of, and it's even better now today in today's world. From I don't know how many weeks you can know this the sex, the gender of your children. But in our days, until you give birth, That's when
You
you know
don't
whether
know.
it's a boy or it's a girl. But nowadays with medical science, you can know even while the baby is in the womb to say, oh, it's going to be a boy, or it's going to be a girl, or it's going to be a twin, which we didn't know in our own time. So for me, my own belief has always been that either a boy or a girl, a child is a child, and that you need to treat them equally, even though in our kind of culture, they to be always be that, oh, boys are better because they carry the family name and so. But for me, I think everybody should determine the name that he carries for himself or herself. I mean, I have two amazing daughters. I'm
Oh,
so proud. I'm very happy about them. I'm not perfect. They are not perfect, and nobody can be perfect. But in terms of what they are doing, we are very happy with them, and it couldn't have been better. Even if they are boys, I mean, I can't see any difference in terms of what they are doing with the kind of happiness and pride that they are bringing to the family. After all, it is what you do that determines the kind of impact you are making in life. It is not
mm,
whether you are. We have seen in today's world, we have seen women rising to any type of level. The what you can become in life is not a function of your gender. It's a function of the attributes and the commitment you put into anything that you are doing. And we have seen in today's world now that ladies are doing a lot better. Especially the younger ones, they are doing a lot better now than their men counterpart, to the extent that ladies now in most cases now run the families. Ladies now
mm,
have becoming the breadwinners of many families,
mm.
in today's world. So for me, it didn't have any meaning to me whether they are, but whether that is a gift from God, and they have to be treated with the highest level of support that is required, and to make them grow to become responsible women.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can attest to that. I remember when I was younger and I wanted to go I wanted to study law. And my dad was like, oh, I think one of the first female chief justices of Nigeria, I think you knew or something like, oh, you can rise up to be a chief justice. And I wanted to be an actress. And you're like, okay, what did they do in acting? I'm like, they go to Oscars. And then my dad's there watching the Oscar ceremony. Okay, it's something you're going to do one day. But I just always had this whole thing that my dad was always one of my biggest supporters when I started working,
Well,
and I remember my first promotion. I'm like, oh dad, I got promoted. I was like, okay, so what's next? Like, okay, this promotion is there. Congratulations, we're happy. But now that you are here, what is the next step? And that always got me thinking that okay, when you're at a job, you're not there to sit down. You are there to grow. Because my dad's always
mhm.
been like, be the best you can be. This is not. I've been in a situation where my dad's like, this is not you. You're better than this. Like, what is this? And that has always sort of helped me and has formed me into the person that I am today. So thank you, Daddy. You're such an amazing dad.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you,
very much.
Daddy.
You're also an amazing lady, and I'm very proud of you. Very proud of what you are doing,
Thank
and
you.
I
Oh,
hope you also, use that. Like I will tell you to also use that to mentor younger people as well, because
mhm,
like I always say, if you have your own candle and the people around you, they don't have light on their candle, you are the only one that have the light. You are the only one that will see the light. But if
mhm,
you use your candle to provide light to other
mhm.
people who are on their own candle, you are creating light for everybody. Everybody is better and
Around you.
better. And if peradventure something happened to your own candle and the light gets blown off, at least one of them will be able to light back
Mhm.
your candle for
Your
you. But if you are
candle.
the only one that has it, so giving back, mentoring, supporting is also very, very important. So that as young fathers and as fathers generally, yes, our biological children are our children, but we also see need and reason to also take care of children of other people as well, who
Mm,
may not be as advantaged as our
mhm,
children are. Because it's also about about parenting. Because if you are well to do and don't take care of the people around your locality, your community, they are the one that will create problem for your children that you think you are bringing up to be successful in life. So,
Hmm.
so that for me is an extension of parenting as well. Your parenting does not mean your biological children alone, but how
yeah.
many lives have you been able to touch? How many lives
Impact.
have you been able to change to become
Yes.
to impact their life in a positive way? For me, that's another level of parenting.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
that's
well,
heavy. Thank you, Daddy. That's
that's deep. I truly hope that um that we can do this. It's a tall order. Mhm.
it is, but it's not impossible, right? I mean, look around you and all the things and everybody else that we kind of interact with, right? There's always a chance to help somebody else, and
Mhm.
that's the way that I try to help. Because I know, I remember a few years ago. Let's just look at the migration of Nigerians to Canada, because that's something
Mhm.
to know about. You know, back then it was always, oh, everybody comes in, they're hustling. You
Mhm.
know, also when I came in, I hustled. So when the next person comes in, you're like, oh, go and also like I also.
Mhm.
Whereas I'm of the opinion that if you can help somebody, help them, because now
Yeah.
you put them in a position. The next guy comes in, they can be the ones putting them in a position. And if you eat and everybody eats, then you're not sharing your food, because everybody has their own loaf of bread. So that's the way that I look at it. But I like the kind of analogy, though, lighting everybody's candle.
Scandal, and
Uh,
where all of you can shine together.
Yes,
exactly.
that's it.
It's a beautiful visual analogy right there. We all need to shine together, in the same light is also, if anybody knows a struggling father out there who can use a hand or a support or an advice, or reach out. And that's what I find that sometimes is maybe lacking with
Mhm.
men, is that they kind of bottle everything up. Women will talk and cry and talk, but you see men are just going to bottle it and just act like it's all okay, but it's really not okay. Things are going south. And so and so I really like that analogy that Daddy has given us, in terms of, being able to light, being there for one another, supporting. It takes a village, really. Nobody's able to do this by themselves.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Daddy, you have spoken so well. I am super, super awed and excited. Very jealous of Kemi.
Don't
Super
worry.
jealous.
I'm your daddy now too. So
Yes,
don't
sir.
worry.
Well then, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yay. So
We're sisters, Antaya.
well,
See?
we are sisters. Yay, group hug.
Yes.
But yes, sir. So this has really been really thoughtful of you, sir. Honestly,
Yeah.
it couldn't have been much, much better than this, to have a father talk to fathers, from a perspective that is true. You've gone through it, you've learned this, you have, the results to show for it. Everything. There's no better person to have said this than I could read it in a book and write it out, but it won't be the same. You know, so thank you so much for coming. We really do appreciate that. Kemi, did you want to ask one more last question of Daddy, or should we call it? Well, getting
Well, time. I
close.
think we're over time, and we're trying to be
I
at time.
I got a comment also, and somebody says I want a daddy too. Yeah, no, this daddy is already taken.
This daddy is
But
taken.
this daddy
Huh?
is
Thank you
taken.
for coming,
What's
Some
though.
that? Say what?
somebody
Moving
sent a comment
on.
and says that I want a daddy too. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry about that. Daddy booked. Daddy is taken already. We have this daddy covered. Thank you
Yes.
to whoever that was.
But it doesn't matter.
Oh,
I could have as many children as I want, as I have as many mentors that I want. It's something
yeah.
that I enjoy talking to young people, guiding them, showing them a different perspective of life, something that they can do differently, opening their
Yeah.
eyes to the opportunities around them, because there are opportunities everywhere.
Mm,
There are opportunities, but the difference is that we always fix our mind only to one thing, and that's the role of parents to be able to tell your children. And that's what I ask my children. What do you want to do? I said, no, don't tell me only one thing. What are the options? What are your options? Tell me the option, two, three options. Okay, which one will you prefer? This. Why do you want to prefer that option?
mm-hmm.
What's going to be the outcome of that option? And what
Yeah.
are the downside and the upside?
Yes.
Because everything always has two sides. And that
Mm,
best or the worst case. So as you are looking at uh, the you are hoping for the best, but also think about it. What if it doesn't work out that way? So if you dimension your risk, that's what you call risk management. If you dimension
yes.
your risk, and if this thing fail, what's going to happen to you? You know that, so that you pray that it works well, but you know that if it doesn't work well, this
This
is
is the
this
fallout.
will be the outcome. So it doesn't get to us as a surprise. So that when it even comes, maybe when failure comes, it doesn't eat you as somebody who has not even prepared for that failure,
Mm,
because it's only that, oh, it can happen. So when it happens, it's not surprising. Oh, I've already thought about it, and then when you think about it, you now look at what is your next plan when you fail. What do you want to do? and that kind of a thing. So I
Stress over
engage youth
failure.
and mentor people as many as possible, because that is what we should be doing as parents. That what we should be doing to the younger people, so that they can live a better life. And what, like I mentioned, is opportunities that people lack. It's
Hmm.
not that it's opportunities. When people have opportunities, or you open their eyes, it's like some people are just walking, closing their eyes in the dark. But
Mm.
when you open their eyes to those opportunities, to those options, and so on and so on, so that some people have aspired, oh, in fact, the way you talk to me, my eyes just open. I can see light, I can see bright, I can see opportunities. I said that's the way it should be. So it challenges you to want to, try out new things. It challenges you to, and today, in today's world now, and I'm happy this is happening in every part of the world. The one generation, we were taught that, oh, you go to school to work, and
Hmm.
when you are going to school to work, you are going to look for salary employment. And I will tell people, you can't be a wealthy person living on salary. You can live, yes, you can live a regular life, a comfortable life, but you can't be rich. So if you really want to be rich, you have to become an entrepreneur. You have to solve a problem. When you solve a problem, then you are giving value, because solving a problem is giving value.
Hmm.
True.
And don't follow anyone, though, because my friend is doing, because your friend is different from you.
Hmm.
So everybody is unique. What the mistakes that people make is to say, oh, my friend is doing this, I also want to do it. Your friend may be
Right.
succeeding, or you may fail. Your friend may fail, and you may succeed. So don't copy. Just know who you are,
True.
and know the kind of skill that you have. And let's also, young people of today must also learn to work together
Hmm.
Yeah.
as a team, collaborate, partner. So that, especially where each of you have different skills and competencies, so that you can bring all. Somebody could be an extrovert, another person can be an introvert. So by the time you put all these skills together, it becomes a whole, and then you get the benefit of synergy. From
Yes.
working together, which is not what it was in our own days. Everybody want to work in their own different silos, running their own. But today's world, it's about partnership. It's about co-creating. It's about creating a better future. About solving the problem. And apart from, I mean, it's part of all the problems that have been solved by innovators. There's still thousands and millions of problems that still need to be solved.
It's all wow.
So when people say, "Oh no, everything," say no.
No.
Every day, new solutions are coming, and it's a person that can think deep and can dimension something that can then come out with a solution. And you'll be surprised. We now have young people starting a business within 5 years, and they're becoming billionaires,
Yes. Yeah. Facebook.
because
Hmm.
they are solving a societal problem.
True.
And when you are solving a problem, people buy whatever it is that you are providing. And nobody wants to know whether your father was a rich man, or whether people don't ask who's. I mean, if you buy a product, do you ever ask? I mean, do you ever
No, sir.
know who the person behind it? You don't know,
Yeah.
but
No,
because you
sir.
like the product, so you
Yes.
buy it, spend your money. So that is the way it is. So younger people today must continue to be creative, or continue to be innovative, or continue to work like entrepreneurs, so that rather than people leaving school and looking for job, you are creating jobs, and you are
Yes.
creating wealth,
Yes.
for yourself and for the people around you.
Man.
Wow. That's a
Wow, that's deep. I had so much, synergy, co-creation, risk dimension, or diversification. Those are important things. Even though this show is for fathers today, I think this daddy has really spoken to me, and I feel very blessed for this to have happened. So I think we have come to the end of our time.
thank
My producer is telling me I can't go further, even though even though I know that I want to hear more. Now
I
that we
know.
have you, because this is a wealth of information, Daddy. I think we're going to have you come back again
No, no
to
problem.
speak
Anytime.
to
Let me
us
know.
about financial discipline. That one is my
Yeah.
biggest, money management, financial
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
How to find opportunities and ideas that you've mentioned. I think we have to do this in series.
No
Now
problem.
that that is not my daddy, Kemi, I don't need to ask permission now.
I'll still the PA, don't worry. It's not
You
about
still do the P, okay, fine. Yes, of course. Being my sister, no, you should handle that area.
Yeah.
thank you
Anyways,
so much for
thank
taking
you so much.
we
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Tayo. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you, Kemi.
Thank you.
Keep
Kemi,
doing the good work. Yes.
Thank
thank you, sir. Kemi, you have the last word, of course. Please, what would
you.
you like to say?
What would I say? Happy Father's Day for all fathers, people intending fathers, fathers who, are trying to be fathers, that are trying to find their path. Happy Father's Day. It's not always the easiest job in the world, but you must sure make it look like it. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Daddy. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
you.
thank
Thank
Bye.
you
you
very much.
so
Thank you,
much,
Kemi.
sir.
Thank you, Kayo. Okay, take
Thank
care.
you, sir. God bless,
Okay.
sir. Thank you.
Amen. And you too. Bye bye now. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.